Hi, my name is Michael Silva. I'm the owner of Foundation Performance. Thanks for joining us. I'd like to introduce Amy Rudolph. Amy is our newest team member. You may have heard of Amy. She's a two-time Olympic runner. We're glad to have her here to help us out with the video. We'd like to welcome the New England Runner readers who've logged onto this video through the article that we did about female knee pain. What we're going to do today in relation to the article is go over a couple of glute strengthening exercises that's going to help control the knee and hopefully reduce knee pain in the female runner. And those male viewers right now can also benefit from this. It's not a female-only exercise. So we're going to start with some standing exercises. I'm going to have Amy put on an elastic band around her ankles. So if you have any of these small mini bands, they work perfectly. If you have any of the longer TheraBand that you may have received from a therapist or trainer, you can tie that up into a small circle. I'm going to put it right on the ankles above your ankle bones here. Then what you do is you stand with your feet about shoulder width apart. We're going to have Amy start with her feet pointing straight ahead. She's going to put her hands on her pelvis, and she's going to do a slight pelvic tilt. If you watch me from the side, a slight pelvic tilt looks like this, where if your pelvis was a cup of water, you're tilting the water, you're pouring the water out the backside of your pelvis. So in this position here, we're going to start with Amy walking out to the right, taking tiny little 2-inch steps. What you want to look for is to keep the knees nice and straight, keep the feet at that exact angle, don't let them turn out or in right now. And then come on back this way. Typically we have our athletes go through about a 10 or 15 foot section. They're going to go right, then left, and then we're going to have Amy go forward towards the camera. Same thing, tiny 2-inch steps, trying to keep your upper body nice and still, maintaining good posture the whole time. Okay, come on backwards. What we can do to also target different muscle areas. Okay, pause there. I'm going to have Amy in-toe slightly, and she's going to do the same thing, out to the right a few steps, trying to maintain that in-toe position slightly. And then come on back. Same thing here, we can go right to left, front to back also. And the second variation we can do is slightly turned out. Always maintaining a slight pelvic tilt, upright posture in the upper body. What we're focused on here is to feel most of the work on the outside of the hips and into the glutes. If you're feeling a lot of work into the quadriceps, most likely you're allowing your pelvis to drop forward this way. You want to make sure you maintain that pelvic tilt. All right, perfect. Why don't you bring the band up to right below your knees. The next exercise we're going to do is a squat. The variation here is we're going to put the band at your knees. The band is going to force your knees to kind of come in this internally rotated, pronated position that we talk about in the article. To counteract that, you're going to watch Amy doing the squat, she's going to use her external rotators and her abductors and her hips here to force the band out. Okay? And those of you who are afraid of squats, squats are not bad for your knees. Bad squats are bad for your knees, but hopefully we can show you correct form. And you'll have a good time with these. So if you're looking at Amy straight on, basically what we're going to do, feet stay shoulder width apart. Amy's going to come down into a shallow squat, and as soon as she bends her knees, she's going to push out on that band to try to get a little bit of tension onto band. Perfect. Come on back up. As you can see here, her knees are going to be pushing slightly wider than her heels. Now if the band is too heavy, let the band kind of pull your knees in. Your squat will look like this. And the knees will come in. That's what you're trying to resist. You're going to push out against that band, working the muscles in the abductors and the external rotators again. Okay, can you face that way for me? So if you're looking at Amy from the side, she has very good squat form. I'm going to pause at the bottom. So here she's keeping the natural curve in her spine. Come on back up. And she's leading with her butt. The first thing she's doing is letting her butt go back, reaching forward with her hands. And when ensuring here that her knees never go over her toes, and stay right behind the tip of her sneaker. Okay, perfect. The squat without the band is a very beneficial exercise. Adding the band just puts more focus onto the abductors and external rotators like we talked about in the article. Okay, why don't we kick the band off? So the next two exercises are going to be floor exercises. And these two are mentioned in the article at the end. And the first one is the single leg bridge. So with this one here, I'm going to have Amy pull her left knee into her chest. The key here is to try to pull this leg in as far as you can comfortably without irritating the front of the hip. This foot stays flat on the ground. The heel is slightly further away from the butt than the knee is. And this position here is perfect. I'm going to ask Amy to keep that left knee into her chest, and she's going to lift her butt in the air as high as she can. Come on up and down a few times. What most of you will notice if you're doing the exercise properly is you will not get very high. If we allow Amy to cheat and let her knee come away from her, she'll get a lot higher. But what she's doing here is compensating and using the muscles in her lumbar spine. We want to keep it in nice and tight. Now, any elevation that she's getting of her hips is coming solely from the right glute and hamstring. When we switch legs, we give them a different angle. So same thing here. She pulls this in as far as she can comfortably, lifting as high as she can without letting the thigh come away. Perfect. Okay. Fourth and final exercise for you is called the clamshell. So I want you to lay on your left side. This exercise here is done lying on your left-hand side. Hips bent up in front, knees bent to just greater than 90 degrees or so. On this one, you want to maintain a slight arch in the lower back. So Amy's actually going to stick her butt out slightly. Now we're going to have her lift the top knee as high as she can, keeping the feet touching and not letting the pelvis move. So a big mistake people make here is as they're raising the knee, they'll allow the pelvis to compensate and come rolling back, or they'll put themselves into that posterior pelvic tilt, which we don't want to do. We want to keep the back arched and have the natural lumbar curve there the whole time. So with these exercises, the glute walk, like I mentioned, you have a 10 to 15 foot section, 1 to 2 sets in each direction usually works pretty well. The squats with the band around the knees, try to get in 15 to 20 quality repetitions, 1 to 2 sets. The single leg bridge and the clamshell, if you can get out 2 sets of 20 of each of those, you're doing pretty well. Again, be aware that most of the work that you're doing should be focused in the glutes and the outside of the hips. If you're getting any pain in the joints, it's not beneficial. It's not the kind of pain we want to push through. Hopefully it's all in the muscle in the glute and hips. Strengthening the glutes, minimizing your risk of injury, improving your running. Good luck with it. Thanks.